Hello, we're here again to make another signature for our album, but I want to first finish up the previous signature. So I have these all in, I've got them all covered and magnets to close. And this is my, I backed this with some cardstock so it would be sturdier, and then covered it so you can put a picture here as well. So that's going to go there as my gatekeeper. So then I put the tape on the back to make sure that was adequately covered, and that is now going to mount in this album on this page. So let's get right to it. I'm going to get this finished up, and then we can move on to the next signature. Okay, right here on the end, even top to bottom. And then I'm going to sneak in here and remove the backing on that tape. All right, let's get in and let's get that burnished. Okay, there we go. So these close up, and then this closes up, and we're done. All right, we're working on this signature right now. So our base page, again, is out of the 11 by 8.5. And this is the base page. And you know, you can always turn it over if you want to play with the more solid side. But this is going to measure 8 inches across by 8.5 inches in the height. Now I am going to make a pocket that's going to go here on this side, and then I took this out of the 8 by 8s, backed it on some cardstock, and I'm going to put it right here. This, oh, I'm going to try something with this. This piece here, before my die, I started out about 2 3/8, and my finishing was sitting at just about 2 1/4 by 8.5 inches. Now I got, because of the arthritis in my thumbs, I got this glue gun, and I'm going to try it. I'm gripping more with my hand and not pushing with my thumb. So let's see how this works. We'll see how I do on this. Okay. This comes in a cradle, and that's nice because then I'm not laying my glue down to leak all over the place. All right, so I'm going to pinch here and know that I need to apply my glue here. that's done. All right, let's move on to our first panel piece. Right side panel will measure at 5 1/4 inches across, 8 1/2 inches in the height. You will score at 1/2 inch and then at 5/8 of an inch. And I want that hinge on the top of the base page, so I'm going to bring this right up to the 1/2 inch score mark. And now we're going to install the one for the left side as soon as I get it all tore apart here. All right, this one is my starting was approximately 6 3/4. My finishing is sitting at 6 1/2 by 8 1/2 inches, 1/2 inch score, 5/8 of an inch score. And again, I'm going to come right up to the 1/2 inch score line. And I'm going to make sure that I ran this, I had scored my lines, and then I ran this through my die cutting machine and it warped it. So I'm glad I'm covering that so it can't be seen. All right, I am going to place 2 magnets. Now if I can find where they went, because they decided to go on a walkabout. So the first thing I am going to do is put them here. There's going to be a pocket here, and the matching magnet, no, that's not what I was going to do. This is where the magnet's going to go because there's going to be a pocket here. So I want that magnet as far up as I can between the layers of paper. So it's going to go here on the front of the pocket, and then I will turn this over, attach the partners, and then turn it over and set it. So I can't put this on until I get done with this page. I am going to go ahead and finish this one. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure that your score lines are standing up the way they should. Just got that all over my thumb. And then I'm going to take a little bit of tape and just make sure that stays in place, that glue. I'm not familiar with the glue that came with this, so I don't know how quick it's going to dry. All right, so that's done. Let's go ahead and let's stay on the inside of the panels and let's put things in place. Okay, so this is going to go over here. So this piece of paper, but I'm going to use the softer, the smaller floral side to go here. I am trying to remember. I did this a couple of days ago, and I'm trying to remember what it was I did. Because this is going to go down here. Okay, I think I got it. I think I got it. That's going to go there. This is going to go down here. So when we set this in, you're going to stay away from this 5/8 score line. And then this pocket, it measures in at 2.5 inches by 4 5/8. And I want to control the adhesive on this so that it doesn't spread. So I'm going to use tape on this pocket. All right, and then I'm rounding the corners. So let's go ahead and let's get put this in here, get it installed. I want to see what I'm doing up here. I didn't cut it short enough, so I am going to trim from the back side, and I don't really care because I'm going to cover it up anyway, but I don't want this hanging over. There we go. All right. So see, I don't care if there's a gap down here. I just mattered up there. All right, we'll put this in. All right, I have to shorten this because I want to come right up to that 5/8 score line. But I'm off by about 1/8 of an inch, so I'm going to take that off of here, this end. Now before I tape that, okay, that's better. So again, I've said this on several occasions, please verify your measurements on your width. And when you go to lay it down, make sure that you can cut it from this end. But because I already had my corner rounded, I cut it from this end. So now I will lay this back down, matching that up, and I should be right in front of the I'm still off. That's okay. Just keep trimming away until I get it right. Now we're right. Okay. So on mine, my finished trim sits right in between 4.5 and 4 5/8. So like I said, do verify your trimmings when you go to put these in. I'm hoping that, nope, I'm gonna, gosh, you know, sometimes I could just scream at myself. I get to working on these late in the day and I'm tired, and so I think I've done everything okay, and come out here the following morning and it's not okay. All right, let's move over here to this side. This is out of the 12 by 12, and I've trimmed it to fit, and I'm going to make a horizontal belly band. And I took this off of, once I trimmed this piece here, I took a piece, because it came off the top, and then I put it on the die cutting machine so that I could match it up with the die, and it will go right here in the center, and it will be a belly band. But early this morning, I got to thinking I need to probably cut a little bit of a trim. I'll put a pocket here so that things don't slide all the way through. So we'll do that together. Let's go ahead and get this on. Okay, matching this up, and it's okay, so this measures 2 1/4 inches by about 5 3/4. So I'm coming just inside that 5/8 score line, and I'm coming right all the way to the very edge. So I need this to match up. And that lays in. I think it needs to come down just a hair. Okay, so let's quickly make a piece that can sit here across the bottom of this. So I'm going to come right here from this corner on my piece, depending upon what kind of die, if you used one, where you need to stop and start yours. And I'm going to make it about 1 inch. Let's go 1 1/4 inches. If it's too much, I can always cut it down. Nope, 1 1/4 inches. I'm coming right to this end. And then I'm going to use some skinny tape because I want to maximize this as much as possible. it up right there. Whoops. Come across, and it's done. What I need to do though is I am going to trim that little edge off. Now I'm going to run into my scraps here real quick and find a piece that's going to be long enough to cover that. Just a second. I'm not so sure I may not have much of a... Oh, is that long enough? It certainly is. Okay. I'm going to come in here, trim that, and then I'm going to trim this. There's my pencil. Gosh darn it. Much better. I'm in a hurry and I'm making mistakes and I don't like it. And then blade moved away. Okay, so I will come back later. I think I'm going to put something here, but I will come back later and do that. So let's go ahead and let's move on so that we can get the rest of this attached. So this is what we've got working on so far. Here's your belly band. Here's your pocket. Let's go ahead and let's work on this piece. So I had a bit of a trim, and you know, once I got this done, I got to thinking about the rest of it, and I'd already cut all that. But if I'm going to hide something behind a pocket, there really is no sense in taking the paper all the way down to the bottom. So I'm going to try to do better about that. I won't promise. It's a good way to save paper. Blast. Stay put. All right, that's on. Now we're going to put this one on, and then, did I just mess up over here? I did. Okay, I just messed up. I should have done this panel first, then this one, because then I could have sat this magnet on the inside over here, but what's going to happen is, or did I? No, I messed up. Okay. It's an easy fix. So let's just finish this. Oh, hold on. This is coming in at 4 5/8, and my finished trim was 3 3/8. Let's get this on there and we can move on to getting this magnet set. Okay, just line that up right there. Then I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to set it down. I'm going to close it and I'm going to put it right there. So it is an easy fix. And I'm using this out of my scraps. Now you can use either the solid or the pattern. And then down here, I was going to put kind of a collage of things. I took Best Friends out of the ephemera, Toto 2 out of the sticker sheet, and then this out of the ephemera. And I'm going to have that come in behind it. So we'll glue this in. And then the Friends. And then I'm going to take and put Toto right here on the bottom. And then on the front, we're going to add another flap here. And I need to put some tape on this. All right, so this is going to measure, my finished is at 5 5/8. I probably started somewhere around 5 1/4 to 5 3/8. And I have a 1/2 inch score, and this is 8 1/2 inches. I want to put this right here on the top. Bringing it right to the edge. And I just realized something. I just realized something. You know, I'm not a perfect person. I can guarantee you that. But I did not think about this not being able to stay closed unless I want to completely change this and seal this, but I don't want to do that. There was a lot of work I put into this. So I'm going to use just a small magnet. It doesn't need to be a big one. This is a basic gray small magnet. Okay, there we go. All right. This is going to go down here. I'm using this out of the 8.5. I do believe I took this out of the 8.5 by 11, and I'm trimming it in here. And it looks like I need to take a little bit here off the bottom. Not very much. So I'm just going to set this on here, level it out, and take a little bit of a trim out of there. And then I can line this up. All right, and that works. Okay, on this side here, I'm putting in this pattern paper. There will be a small pocket that will go here, matching these two up. And then I will do a smaller pocket here, and we're going to put our friends on there. Okay, so let's finish putting this in. I'm going to tape it. There's too much going on magnets. Okay. Line this up. Okay, so my pocket here, it measures at 5 inches across, and it ended up at 3 3/8, so I probably started at 3 1/2. So depending upon what you're using for a die or none, you can pick either one of the measurements. And then I'm just going to center this with it being a little bit off the bottom, and with as much on the sides that match. And then I went to my scraps and pulled out this bright, beautiful piece, and I'm just going to glue it on here. And then we have our friends that we're going to put down here. Now, I've got to watch where his neck is. I'm going to glue down from the base of his head because I've noticed that his neck is a little loose. So I'm just going to come right here And then I'm going to glue. I want to make sure that this is going to be steady. There we go. Putting Toto right at the very bottom. And because I don't want the glue really spreading up to, and I don't want it to close the pocket, so I'm bringing the glue downward. I think I can put a little bit more glue behind his head. Okay, there we go. Okay, beautiful. Now let's go ahead and let's put this piece on over here. Oh, Charlie. You know, sometimes I just want to smack myself. I put that tape on the wrong side. Okay, let's see if I can salvage the tape and move it one piece at a time. Ah, Charlie, Charlie, Charlie. I'm just humming along. It just sometimes totally amaze myself. Luckily, I am able to re-adhere all this tape because it gets expensive. Well, but then so's undo, but I would rather not throw the tape away. Okay, I'm going to let that sit for just a second. So while this is drying, let me give you the measurement for the little tuck that we're going to have. This is going to come in at 1 1/4, so I probably started somewhere around 1 1/2, and it's by the 8 1/2 inches in the height. And I'm going to tape this in. Okay, so that's ready to go. All right, let's put this on now. Should be okay to pick these off. Come on. All right, so this is going to sit right here. And it looks like I need to take a smidgen here off the bottom. Just follow that score line all the way up. And then using this piece, and then from scraps, I took out this strip, cut it a long time ago, and I have a couple of the sticker florals. I'm layering them on top of one another, and that's just going to run right down the center. Maybe not. I have a leaf over here I have to take into consideration, so it's going to be just a bit off center for me. I'd already put the stickers down, so if you want to run this down the center, then position the floral accordingly. All right, now the outside. We will put this on out here. And I just realized I didn't finish this. Or I lost my... Oh, I know what I was going to do. I know what I was going to do. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so I have these two that I've not taken apart. So I'm going to leave, I guess, this one. I'm going to mount it on blue cardstock. I'm going to finish cleaning up the trim. This I would prefer, but it means she's opening the reverse way, and if that doesn't bother anybody, then we can certainly do that. But let's get it trimmed up first. Now, if you've already cut all of yours apart, it's very easy to make this And I'm going to end up cutting it anyway. All right. So this would score at... My intent is to leave a portion of this. Oh, I can fix that. Okay, so let's cut this down this score line, this little dotted line. And then I'm going to use this side. So I will trim this up a little bit more. And I think I'm going to have to trim this up a little bit more. Take all that blue off the edges. And then I am going to all right, so that I'm not cutting into another piece of cardstock, I'm going to make this well, there we go. So we're going to cut this to about 8 1/8. It's easy to trim off if I don't cut it the right size. So 8 1/8. And then I'm going to trim this down to so I have it at 8 1/8 by 3 inches, and then we're going to score this roughly at 4. And we'll see if I need to trim any of this off. Wow, that's a lot. We'll see here. Now, see, she's going to fit better on this side. And this I can trim down. Oh, I don't have to trim this one down at all. So that's perfect. Hold on. Hold on. Using some of the small basic gray magnets, I do not want this flapping open on the top, so I'm going to close this. So what's happening on mine is this piece, I could trim that down just a hair, not much. The one piece is longer than the other. So where this fits, come here, perfect in here, this one needed a little extra length. Not much. I think by the time I trim that up one more time, it might even be even. It's hard to say. I just want to take just a fringe off. So I ended up at 8 inches. I ended up trimming away that 1/8, scoring it at 4. I'll come back and fix this, but then we're going to put this here right on the front. I got to put maybe a grippy on this handle. It's quite slick. Okay, there we go. All right, let's put some tape on this and we'll get this in the album. Now where I ran that through my, after scoring it first, which I won't do again, and then I run it through my Spellbinders die cutting machine, it really warped and wrinkled the edges, and then I just now noticed that it's also softened the teeth of the so this is not going to lay flat. So to fix that, when I go to put this in the album, I will make sure that this goes in straight as it can, and then it will hold it in place. So let's go ahead. Oh, I need to burnish. Okay. It's gonna go right here, top to bottom. And I'm gonna put this down and this down. Bring it right just about to the edge. And now I'm going to push this back so it stands up, and then the tape goes down, and hopefully that will keep that in place. All right. Okie dokie. All right, there we go. We're all done. We'll be back to do this one. We have just 2 to go. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.